Magandang madaling araw sa lahat. Basa naman tayo ng Bible guys, tapos balik na lang ako ng tulog ulit. Mamaya. Napaaga ng gising eh. Bilisan lang natin ang basa. Deuteronomy 32, 33, and 34, and Mark 15, 26 to 47. Deuteronomy muna tayo guys. The Song of Moses. Ito yung karugtong kahapon. Listen, O heavens, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my teaching fall like rain, and my words descend like dew, like showers on new grass, like abundant rain on tender plants. I will proclaim the name of the Lord. Oh, praise the greatness of our God. He is the rock, his works are perfect, and all his ways are just. A faithful God who does no wrong, upright and just is he. They have acted corruptly toward him. To their shame they are no longer his children, but a warped and crooked generation. Is this the way you repay the Lord, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your Father, your Creator, who made you and formed you? Remember the days of old. Consider the generation long past. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain to you. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up boundaries for the peoples, according to the number of the sons of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted inheritance. In a desert land he found him, in a barren and howling waste. He shielded him and cared for him. He guarded him as the apple of his eye, like an eagle that stirs up its nest and hovers over its young, that spreads its wings to catch them and carries them on its pinions. The Lord alone led him. No foreign god was with him. He made him ride on the heights of the land and fed him with the fruit of the fields. He nourished him with honey from the rock, and with oil from the flinty crag, with curds and milk from herd and flock, and with fattened lambs and goats, with choice rams of Bashan, and the finest kernels of wheat. You drank the foaming blood of the grape. Jezreel grew fat and kick. Filled with food, he became heavy and sleek. He abandoned the God who made him, and rejected the rock his Savior. They made him jealous with their foreign gods, and angered him with their detestable idols. They sacrificed to demons, which are not God, gods they had not known, gods that recently appeared. Ang haba ng kanta ni Moses. Kanta niya to eh. Paano kaya to kantahin? Gods your fathers did not fear. You deserted the rock who fathered you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw this and rejected them, because he was angered by his sons and daughters. I will hide my face from them, he said, and see that their end will be. For they are a perverse generation, children who are unfaithful. They made me jealous by what is no good, and angered me with their worthless idols. I will make them envious by those who are not a people. I will make them angry by a nation that has no understanding. For a fire has been kindled by my wrath, one that burns to the realm. of death below. It will devour the earth and its harvest, as set afire the foundation of the mountains. I will heap calamities upon them, and spend my arrows against them. I will send wasting famine against them, consuming pestilence and deadly plague. Alisin mo yung plug na sa amin, Father God. Yung COVID-19, pakialis na po. I will send against them the fangs of wild beasts, the venom of vipers that glide in the dust. In the street the sword will make them childless, and their homes terror will reign. Young men and young women will perish, infants and gray-haired men. I said would scatter them. I said I would scatter them, and blot sa 26 yung dito, and blot out their memory from mankind. Ang haba. Ibig sabihin yung kanta to buong chapter 32. But I dreaded the taunt of the enemy, lest the adversary misunderstand, and say our hand was triumph. The Lord has not done all this. They are a nation without sense. There is no discernment in them. If only they were wise and would understand this, and discern what their end will be. How could one man chase 1,000, or two put 10,000 to flight, unless the rock had sold them, unless the Lord had given them up? For the rock is not like a rock, as even our enemies conceive. Their vine comes from the vine of Sodom, and from the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are filled with poison, and their clusters with bitterness. Their wine is the venom of serpents, the deadly poison of cobras. Have I not kept this in reserve, and sold it in my vaults? It is mine to avenge. I will repay in due time, their foot will slip. Their day of disaster is near, and their doom rushes upon them. The Lord will judge his people, and have compassion on his servants, when he sees their strength is gone, and no one is left slave or free. He will say, now where are their gods, the rock they took refuge in, the gods who ate the fat of their sacrifices, and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up to help you, let them give you shelter. See now that I myself am He. There is no God besides me. I put to death, and I bring to life. I have wounded, and I will heal. And no one can deliver out of my hand. I lift my hand to heaven and declare, as surely as I live forever. When I sharpen my flashing sword, and my hand grasps it in judgment, I will take vengeance on my adversaries, and repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, while my sword devours flesh, the blood of the slain and the captives, the heads of the enemy leaders. Rejoice, O nation, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. He will take vengeance on his enemies, and make atonements for his land and people. Moses came with Joshua, son of Nun, and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people. When Moses finished reciting all these words, na-recite ni Moses to sobrang haba. O sa bagay, yung kanyang, kung yung book, Law Book of Moses ngayon, sinulat niya ng 40 days and 40 nights, sobrang haba din yun kasi. So, ito sisi lang sa kanya to. O sa atin kasi sobrang haba na. 3 page ba naman, guys? Moses came with Joshua, son of Nun, and spoke all these words of this song in the hearing of the people. When Moses finished reciting all these words to all Israel, he said to them, take to heart all the words I have solemnly declared to you this day, so that you may command your children to obey carefully all the words of this law. They are not just idle words for you, they are your life. By them you will live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Moses to die on Mount Nebo. On that same day the Lord told Moses, Go up into the Abiram, range to Mount Nebo and Moab, across from Jericho and view Canaan, the land I am giving the Israelites as their own possession. Canaan talaga yung binigay niya, no? There on the mountain that you have climbed you will die and be gathered to your people, just as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. This is because both of you broke faith with me in the presence of the Israelites. Oo nga guys. Si Aaron din kasi nag-rebelde din yan eh. Kaya ayun. This is because both of you broke faith with me in the presence of the Israelites at the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the desert of Zin. And because you did not uphold my holiness among the Israelites, therefore you will see the land only from a distance. Kawawa naman. You will not enter the land I am giving to the people of Israel. Pero mo, ang laki ng hirap ni Moses. Tapos, hindi siya kasali. Kasi nakalagay sa verse 51. This is because both of you broke faith with me. Si Aaron tsaka si Moses nga. Pero minsan nga lang sila kasi nag-rebelde. Tapos yun na. Parusa na sa kanila yan. Moses blesses the tribes. Sa chapter 33 na tayo. This is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, pronounced on the Israelites before his death. He said, The Lord came from Sinai and dawned over them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came with myriads of holy ones from the south, from his mountain slopes. Surely it is you who love the people. All the holy ones are in your hand, at your feet. They all bow down, and from you receive instruction, the law that Moses gave us. The possession of the assembly of Jacob, he was king over Jeshurun. When the leaders of the people assembled along with the tribes of Israel, let Reuben live, not die, nor his men be few. And this he said about Judah. Hear, O Lord, the cry of Judah. Bring him to his people. With his own hands he defends his cause. Oh, be his help. Wala na, hindi ko na makita. Oh, be his help against his foes. About Levi said, Your Thummim and Urim belong to the man you favored. You tested him of Mesa. You contended him with the waters of Meribah. Alam mo yung waters ng Meribah, laging binabanggit. Pati dito sa verse 51, binanggit rin siya. 30 to 51. Ngayon naman dito sa chapter 33, verse 8. With him at the waters of Meribah, he said of his father and mother, I have no regard for them. He did not recognize his brothers or acknowledge Lagyan ko lang ng label sandali guys at sobrang haba na. Baka makalimutan natin. March 18. He did not recognize his brothers. Verse 9 ng 32 guys. He did not recognize his brothers or acknowledge his own children, but he watched over your word and guarded your covenant. He teaches your precepts to Jacob and your law to Israel. He offers, akala mo magkaiba yung Jacob tsaka Israel, ano? Iisa lang yun. He offers incense before you, and whole burnt offerings on your altar. Bless all his skills, O Lord, and be pleased with the work of his hands. Smite the loins of those who rise up against him. Strike his foes till this rise no more. About Benjamin he said, let the beloved of the Lord rest securely in him, for the shells him all day. Okay, Levi pala yun. About Benjamin he said, let the beloved of the Lord rest secure in him, for he shields him all day long, and the one the Lord loves rests between his shoulders. About Joseph he said, may the Lord bless his land with the precious dew from heaven above, and with the waters that lie below, where the best of the sun brings forth, and the finest the moon can yield, where the choicest gifts of the ancient mountains, and the fruitfulness of the everlasting hills, where the best gifts of the earth, and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the burning bush. Let all this rest on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. In majesty he is like a firstborn bull. His horns are the horns of a wild ox. With him he will gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Oh, sa verse 17 ito guys. With him he will gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Such are the 10,000 of Ephraim, such are the thousands of Manasseh. About Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and you, Issachar, in your tents. They will summon peoples to the mountain, and there offer sacrifices of righteousness. They will feast on the abundance of the seas, on the treasures hidden in the sand. About God, he said, blessed is who enlarge God's domain. God lives there like a lion, tearing at arm or head. He chose the best land for himself. The leader's portion was kept for him. When the heads of the people assembled, he carried out the Lord's righteous will, and his judgment concerning Israel. About Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's cub, springing out of Bashan. About Naphtali, he said, Naphtali is abounding with the favor of the Lord, and is full of his blessing. He will inherit southward to the lake. About Asher, he said, most blessed of sons is Asher. Really? Hindi si Joseph. Si Asher ang pinaka-blessed, guys. Oh. Most blessed of sons is Asher. Let him be favored by his brothers, and let him bathe his feet in oil, the bolts of your gates. Akala ko kasi guys, ang pinaka-blessed si Joseph. Si Asher pala nakalagay dito eh. Most blessed of sons is Asher. Let him be favored by his brothers, and let him bathe his feet in oil. The walls of your gates will be iron and bronze, and your strength will equal your days. There is no one like the God of Jezreel, who rides on the heavens to help you, and on the clouds in his majesty. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will drive out your enemy before you, saying, destroy him. So Israel will live in safety alone. Jacob springs in secure in a land of grain and new wine, where the heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, O Israel, who is like you, O people saved by the Lord. He is your shield and helper, and your glorious sword. Your enemies will cower before you, and you will trample down their high places. Chapter 34 na tayo, guys. The death of Moses. Then Moses climbed Mount Nebo from the plains of Moab to the top of Pisgah, across from Jericho. There the Lord showed him the whole land from Gilead to Dan, all of Naphtali, the territory of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the Negev, and the whole region from the valley of Jericho, the city of palms, as far as Zoar. Then the Lord said to him, this is the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when I said, I will give it to your descendants, I have let you see it with your eyes, but you will not cross over into it. Kawawa naman si Moses. Siya naghirap lahat-lahat eh. Diba? And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab. Sa verse 5 ng 34, guys. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab, as the Lord had said. He buried him in Moab, in the valley opposite Peor. But to this day, no one knows where his grave is. Oh, bakit? Nakalagay, guys, but to this day, no one knows where his grave is. Kasi nung araw, ano lang kasi, pag nilibing ka sa lupa, hindi katulad ngayon, nilalagyan na ng mga concrete na libingan talaga. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone. The Israelites grieved for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days, until the time of weeping and mourning was over. Now Joshua son of Nun was filled with the spirit of wisdom, because Moses had laid his hands on him. So the Israelites listened to him and did what the Lord had commanded Moses. Since then no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Yep, nakakausap si Father God ng face to face. Who did all those miraculous signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt, to Pharaoh and all his officials and to his whole land, for no one has ever shown the mighty power or performed the awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel. So, yun. So, ibig sabihin, mula noon, wala nang nakakapantay na propeta like kay Moses. Nakakalagay sa verse 10 guys, since then no prophet had risen in Israel like Moses. So, walang makakapantay kay Moses na nakakausap si Father God ng face to face. Anuhin ko nga ito. Gawin ko nga itong description. Yung verse 10 ng 34. Bukas Joshua na pala ang babasahin natin eh. Ayan. Ang 18 ng verse 34 hanggang verse ano lang siya. Verse 12. So bukas sa Joshua na tayo. Dito na tayo sa Mark. Mark 15:26 to 47. Basa. Jesus is placed on the cross. Nakabasa na rin natin ito sa Matthew, guys. It was the third hour when they crucified him. Pag sinabing third hour, guys, madaling araw or hapon. Pagka oras natin ang babatayan, pag 24 hours ang natin is, ang 3 o'clock is 1500. On the third hour. So, ano to guys? Madaling araw ba to? Or hapon? It was the third hour when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read. Kasi kung hapon guys, di ba dapat 1500? Paano ba tayo magbasa ng oras? Pag 3 o'clock sa madaling araw yung ganitong oras natin ng pagbabasa. 03, 04, ganyan. Bilisan natin, balik na tayo ng tulog. It was the third hour when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." They crucified the robbers with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So you are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. Come down from the cross and save yourself." Pero kababasa lang natin guys sa Old Testament walang nakakapantay kay Moses eh. And the same way the chief priests and the teachers of the law mocked him among themselves to save others, they said, but he can't save himself. Let this Christ, this King of Israel, come down from the cross. Come down now from the cross that we may see and believe. Those crucified with him also heaped insult on him. Basta ako natatak na sa utak ko na walang kapantay si Moses doon sa Israel na nakakausap talaga si Father God face to face. Jesus dies on the cross. At the 6th hour, darkness came over the whole land until the ninth hour. So ang tinutukoy niya rito is hapon nga guys. Hapon yung 3rd hour. Tapos dito, yung 6 hour darkness na. Kasi kung 6 hour ng umaga, dapat maliwanag. So, darkness na. At the 6th hour, darkness came over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice. So, ang tagal na pa ako ni Jesus Christ sa cross kasi 3 o'clock siya pinako, tapos 6 o'clock, tapos 9 o'clock, 6 hours. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of those standing near heard this, they said, "Listen, he's calling Elijah." One man ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a stick, and offered it to Jesus to drink. Binalik na naman kasi dito sa Mark kasi, dapat pagka sinulat na sa Matthew, huwag na ibalik-balik. Sayang yung oras natin pagbabasa. "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down," he said. Kasi dapat guys, nasa ibang na tayo, binalik na naman dito sa Mark. Ganon din naman ang nakasulat sa Matthew, tsaka ito. With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and then the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus heard his cry. So, how he died. Nagreklamo lang ako, nagbago ng boses ko. Talaga naman. Ayaw yata dito sa Bible mag-react ka. Sabi siguro, huwag kang angal ng angal. Magka-reklamo ng reklamo, basa ka lang. Kasi naman, sayang nga pang oras. Dapat, yung mga writer dito, isang sulatan lang. Huwag na pabalik-balik. The curtain of the temple was torn into from top to bottom, and when the centurion was stood there in front of Jesus, heard his cry, and saw how he died, he said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Some women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the younger, and of Joseph and Salome. In Galilee, these women had followed him, cared of his needs. Many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem were also there. Jesus laid in the tomb. It was preparation day, that is the day before the Sabbath, so as evening approached, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council who was himself waiting for... Di ba Joseph din yung asawa ni Mama Mary? So, ibang Joseph din to. Ang daming pangalang Joseph. Of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God, went boldly to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Pilate was surprised to hear that he was already dead. Summoning the centurion, he asked him if Jesus had already died. When he learned from the centurion that it was so, he gave the body to Joseph. So Joseph bought some linen clothes, took down the body wrapped in the linen, and placed it in a tomb cut out of rock. Then he rolled the stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Joseph, saw where he was laid. Okay na guys. Bye everyone. God bless.